The more connected we are to the source, the less the fear of death will be. Start with something as simple as that if death intrigues you or makes you scared. But before we even talk about preparation of death, we got to start living.
Okay, so now coming to this very interesting topic of fear of death. You know, I mean, we all face it
Yes.
inherently. Even the term death kind of scares us, right? So, but with so much of awareness coming in and we all knowing that that's not the end of it, how would you put death as, like, what's your perspective? What should be my approach towards death as a human?
Yeah. And it's interesting when we talk about death because none of us have a recollection of our death. So these are essentially things that we've either read or gathered or researched. And for very few people, there have been near-death experiences, which I have been fascinated with since I was a child. So again, I think through whatever work I have done and gathered, recently I came across an example that resonated very beautifully for me. And when you hear something that resonates, you just know it's true.
Yeah.
You don't need to confirm it then. And it said something as simple as when we are born, it's as if, the ocean is there and the waves are coming. And as the waves come, these drops of water rise, right? They rise and then they fall back. Death is nothing but you falling back into the ocean.
Wow. Such a beautiful...
You're getting goosebumps. And that just rang truth for me. I know I had heard this in various formats earlier, that you are born out of the source. This lifetime that you experience is a small segment, a small glimpse of a play, a divine play that you've participated in. And then you go back to source. But this example really made it clear for me. And I realized, yes, that's possibly the clearest explanation I ever heard. Now, while we are saying this, there is, of course, a huge amount of fear of death. And the fear of death emerges from attachment. It is out of attachment to objects, belongings, identity that we've created, relationships that we've created, whatever it is that we have participated in on this planet. The fear of losing that is actually the fear of death for many people.
Yeah, attachment to our own identity.
To our own identity.
Or body.
Yes. However, there is a small segment of people, especially the elderly, who are closer to that in the biological way, who have a fear of the actual process of death.
Yeah.
Because as their bodies are shutting down and they are experiencing certain organs not performing very well, it has sometimes led to a fear of what will it actually be like? Will I not be able to breathe? So there is that small segment as well. And I don't find that too much in young people because we are kind of living as if we're never going to go. We're like taking for granted we are here forever.
Yeah.
But as people progress in age, I find them wondering, I hope it's a peaceful death. I hope. That's when I start hearing those things. So if our work during our lifetime can be to be conscious and aware, to learn to detach with compassion, with love, to be conscious and connected to the source. The more connected we are to the source, the less the fear of death will be. Because it's just a reunion with the source. You're just going back to where you came from. So the more you're connected to the source, the lesser the fear. In fact, you can start preparing for it in the most beautiful ways. I remember seeing this documentary on the life of the Buddhist monk. And so one of the practices in Buddhism, I believe, is to wake up in the morning and contemplate on death for a few minutes.
Oh.
To wake up and remind yourself that death is there somewhere already on my life path. And can I live today fully? So if it comes, I meet it gracefully. So that makes you live well.
The daily reminder.
that orientation of death can actually make you live better.
Wow. That's so powerful.
And in stark contrast to how we forget to live because we are scared of death.
Yeah.
So we are building and acquiring more and more and trying to, expand this lifetime out of fear.
How does a person overcome this fear?
Yeah.
How can I change my perspective of looking at death so that it becomes more of, I would say, an easier concept than scaring me every single day?
So what happens for a lot of people is that we want to focus on a peaceful passing away. A lot of people want that. And you'll constantly find people praying, I just want to go in a way that is peaceful. I don't want to cause any trouble and this, that, and the other. Now, the question is, how are you living? Are you living in a way that you're not causing trouble? Are you living in a way that is conscious and aware? It can't be that your life is a contrast and suddenly you'll pass away in complete peace and samadhi and all that. That's not going to happen. So what's going to happen in those moments is pretty much as it is repeatedly come up, that you watch a replay of your life. Now, when you're watching a replay of your life, why are we watching it? Because it's literally like a fast track of everything we have lived and co-created. It's like a summary. Like when a lecture ends and a good lecturer will summarize what they've learned. So it's very similar to that. And here you are, if your life has been lived consciously, and that is what we can do, no matter what age we are, to start preparing for a life of meaning, ensures that you have an exit from this game, which is peaceful, which is intentional. You can't have an intentional death if you've not had an intentional life. And there are some great books available on this. In fact, one of the simplest ones is Laws of the Spirit World. So as an introduction to the topic, of course, there are heavier ones such as the Tibetan Book of the Living and Dead. But start with something as simple as that. If death intrigues you or makes you scared, either way, start learning about it. There's no point in fearing something which is guaranteed. There are very few things in life which are guaranteed and certain. Death is that. It's the reality. It's the eventual reality. And if it is the same as that drop of water merging into the ocean, as the soul returning home, then it is such a beautiful process.
Yeah.
It's such a pity if we are not participating in it just because we are caught up in some fear. So it's time to start living properly, first of all. A very interesting practice I found was the Swedish Death Cleaning.
Oh.
Which is a method of decluttering your home with the assumption that if I'm dying, and which is such an important thing. Let's say today, how many of us are ready to die? How many of us are scared that, oh my God, if I die today, what's my family going to find? What a mess I'm leaving behind. Maybe I've not even done paperwork. Maybe I'm going to leave a legal mess for my children. Maybe my spouse is going to be shocked at some of my secrets. Maybe I am not ready to leave and I might be panicking purely because I've not lived properly. So Swedish Death Cleaning says, can I start cleaning up in a way as if I'm going to die after some time? Now that makes your decision so clear, your priorities so clear. You're no longer willing to be in that what if this happens, what if that happens. You're clear. This is needed, this is not needed. It's a very similar thing with life. You can actually do like a Swedish death cleaning of your relationships, of your emotions, of your baggage that you've been carrying. And that is where you say, okay, this is what I've been carrying. Do I intend taking it? Let's say I was going on the most beautiful trip of my life, but I'm only allowed to take myself. I'm not allowed to carry baggage with me. So am I carrying those mountains on my back of all the pain? Do I need to forgive some people? Can I begin that now? Can I start, I've spent the whole lifetime and I forgot to build a relationship with myself. So begin that relationship with yourself. That's one. Start the journey of forgiveness. Start understanding death better. Start being friends with it. It is the greatest grand finale of our life. Stop calling it death if it triggers you. Rename it as grand finale.
Yeah.
Rename it as something you enjoy. And here I can pick up the example of Louise Hay, who literally prepared for her death. She was in her 90s when she passed away. And she literally prepared because she said, why don't I create a beautiful experience for myself as I transition?
Like a ceremony.
She did. So everything she had already chosen, what music to play, where does she want to be? So she was sitting in the mountains in this cottage, surrounded by people who loved her, listening to beautiful affirmations, listening to beautiful thoughts about the transition, about how beautiful it's going to be. And so that is an intentional process of ending it. But before we even talk about preparation of death, we got to start living in preparation.
A lot of inner work.
Lot of inner work, being in the present moment. You never know when the time is there. The point is not in trying to increase our span on this planet. The point is in trying to increase the living that I do on this planet.
The quality.
Yeah, so I may have passed 1 week of not even being fully present to my life. What's the point of that life? So let's stop being in this mental coma, emotional coma, and instead start being present to our life. And then, of course, comes the other part, which is about preparing. So increase your awareness. If there is an elder present in your life who's been scared of the actual process, but is not seeking the right knowledge, help them, get them a book that they will resonate with. Let them learn about, what is the actual sequence of it. Let them be reassured about, for example, Anita Moorjani's book is great. Dying to be Me, it's called. So that tells the other person what the experience is, how you're met by loved ones, what a beautiful liberation it is. So those are the things that help the person know. It's like I'm going someplace, but I have the map now. So I know what to watch out for. I know what to do. So when the moment comes, I consciously invite it.
Wow. I hope all of us follow this and come out of this fear and make it more of a celebration.
Absolutely. Absolutely.